said exactly how long. That's what I asked.
Go ahead and get started. Roll call. Goss?
Yes.
Weiss?
Yes.
Hillman? Yes. Nelson?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any conflict of interest or it is nothing.
I'll make that motion. I'll make that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Consent agenda. Minutes, Quinless, retail alcohol license and 2 cigarette licenses.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Goss?
Yes.
Weiss?
Yes.
Hillman? Yes. Nelson?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is have Jason. You're on.
Yep.
What do you have for us?
We wanted to just kind of give you an update. We wanted to give you an update on where we're at with the potential rec center. So, first off, we met with, we do have a verbal agreement with a landowner, Doug Studer. We went and met with him, 3 of us went and met with him and proposed the idea, and he actually So this is what he would be willing to partition off to the west of the school there. It's just a hair over 14 acres. That's just kind of what he would be willing to sell us at this time. And then we met with the school board on April 16th and went through the proposed plan of attaching it to the school and purchasing those acres and then moving the ball diamonds that we talked at the first meeting to the west. And the school board had a lot of, I guess, concerns, a lot of questions. And one of their main questions was what the city would be willing to do to help this project. You know, what funds would be available, what support, what employment, maybe, you know, different things like that. That's kind of one of their questions that they have.
And then they also were concerned or had questions about attaching it to the school and if they would want that. You know, they also suggested putting it somewhere else in the city so they didn't have to kind of worry about that part of things. But from all the places we visited and all the people we talked to, it seems to be the most successful when it is attached to the school. So it would be nice to, but if we can't, we would definitely be open to moving forward, just putting it somewhere else. Being on school property would help with taxes and other things like that. And if there was basketball tournaments or wrestling meets, you know, anything like that, we could utilize the whole school. And again, if school's out or if it's a night, there would be a locked door where no one could get in or out. They did talk about staffing concerns and all the ones we talked to, like we would staff maybe like 5 to 9 p.m. And a lot of the times those are teachers or kids that, you know, just graduated that would want to, you know, sit at the desk, get a free membership, work for $10 an hour. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes they're staffing like noon to 6. Otherwise, there's a key fob for 24-hour entrance. And you'd have to be a certain age or older to enter alone. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at there. We also said, you know, their smaller classes are getting so big that we almost need to grow and get, you know, more teachers and things like that. So I just feel like building something like that next to the school or even in town will just draw more people here to our city. So.
And then some of the other things, like you've seen by that map, obviously 14 acres is way more than what we need. But we thought that we could section off like the southwest part of that 14 acres, about 4 or 5 acres. And I'm waiting to hear back from some different schools who put in solar panels. And maybe we could get, we were in the process checking into more grants and things. Whereas, you know, if we could show them that, hey, we're building this rec center and it's going to be supplied with green energy, you know, we could access that 4 or 5 acres with solar panels. That way, and then also it would be less maintenance, less grass to mow, less, you know, things like that. Because that was one of the other concerns too, is what are we do with all that extra land? And then obviously the land to the north, towards Grimm's there, that's some extra land too. But we thought maybe the FFA could take advantage of that and maybe do some more different things with the FFA. You know, they could, or a community garden and things like that. So, you know, and we're waiting to hear back from the construction company, Sand Construction in Fort Dodge, on a quote on what it would take to move the ball diamonds. I met with him, was it last Wednesday? Yeah. He's just kind of give us a ballpark idea what it would take to relocate those. But we need to kind of move quick on that part because they want to put in new lighting. And if we're going to relocate those things, we want to maybe pump the brakes on that a little bit on that project. So,
Well, the questions they had for us, besides questions about what the city would be willing to do,
They also wanted to know about the generated income from other things. So instead of memberships, they're thinking like the one in Northwood and is it Humboldt?
Yeah.
They have a physical therapist that comes in and does a lot of rehab work with individuals with surgery or things like that. So they rent out a room and that's $1,100 a month they get for that. They also rent out rooms for birthday parties, rent out different basketball courts for different parties and stuff like that. What else do they do? Oh, one has a daycare, and then, just to host it, if they host, our school were to host events like tournaments and things like that, with all the basketball courts and the track and the.
And then that would bring, when we have events like that, it's gonna bring more people to town. They're gonna spend money in town for their businesses, places to eat, things like that.
We've also had a lot of people, that are just hearing about it, and like, there hasn't been one negative person. Everyone is so excited. They just, it's just where we're gonna put it.
What we need to do too is try and find a large donor that will help us also. And so that's something we're looking for currently, is someone to go out and donate X amount of money, and then we can grow from that also. Because that's what a lot of the other schools do, but if we don't take some risks and try and grow and have these kids have activities and different things to do, then we're gonna lose them. Because there's a lot of people from Britt that have joined the other health clubs around, and we need to bring them back to this community because we've got a great sports and stuff, and this just will help us grow.
So I guess the main things that we want to discuss tonight, or is try to get some answers on, is what the city's willing to do. We need to figure out the other rec centers. And we're waiting on this information. We've already reached out to these other rec centers, but the percentage of memberships that are in the community versus outside the community, the cost of the cost to own and operate the facility, and the number of members, and then obviously because Northwood, what they said, they generated 25,000 last year. Yeah, and that was just off memberships and little things that they've done. So there is some income potential. And we talked to some other rec centers that where they were never able to justify hiring a full-time park and rec director. Now that they have a rec center, they are able to justify that, and the school's paying half their salary and the city's paying half their salary. So I guess the question is.
That was a concern that I would have, is about staffing, 5 to 9, right?
That's just what a couple of them do, yeah.
Yeah, you need more than that. From what I can see anyway, and I mean, you have a constant need of, just keeping the towels and so forth, make sure there's plenty over there, washing them and restocking them and so forth, and the hand cleaner or whatever else, keep all that stuff full and handy. And just keeping the place in order. You really need somebody around quite a bit of the time.
And we can kind of look into that, as we see need for. And there could be someone that's willing to be like, hey, I will take this, and this will be my,
There are grants, well, there's one $75,000 grant right now for rec centers.
Oh.
I did get an email about it, so, and I bet there's others, I haven't looked around yet, but I mean, there's always grants for that kind of stuff.
That's wonderful.
So,
We're in the process right now, trying to get as much grant information as we can. We got a list of stuff we're waiting to hear back from people on. But we wanted to meet with you guys to give you an update on where we're at, and see what you guys are thinking.
so one thing to keep in mind is if we decide to bond for something like this, it has to go on the ballot. That changed a couple years ago, so the residents would have to vote that in. So we can't just automatically bond for it, we'd have to bring it out to the public to vote. So
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. The school did suggest that too, because we showed them one survey
second thing that people are requesting is a fitness center. The first thing was a coffee shop, I think, which we have one now, so.
Times have changed.
So I guess we need to know how big a check you guys are gonna write.
What's that?
I said we need to know how big a check you're gonna write.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, in all honesty, I'm not opposed to the idea of a rec center here in Britt. I think it'd be a great asset. However, I do think it makes the most sense for the school district to make the decision on whether they are willing to take on the risk first. And if not, then we need to figure out something else. Because we can't do it alone, and the school can't do it alone. So,
To do it together, and another benefit of having it at the school, they can tie into their, HVAC and their, what else do they do? What do they do? Geothermal, and, tie all into that if we ran a controller. Also, when I was talking to the city clerk in Northwood, she said they did not get one dime from the casino for their bill. They get money yearly from the casino, but she said if you look on the donation wall, for their rec center, they didn't donate anything to it, and they were still able to raise money. I mean, they still get their yearly,
When you guys came to talk to us as a small group, you were talking about raising half of the funds. Is that still?
Yeah, that's what we hope to do.
Northwood took, what that was it, 5.6 million or 5.8?
That was the total.
Yeah. We think, that was 2 years ago, we think, 7, no more than 8. I think is what it would take to build a facility that has, like 2 basketball courts, a turf area, a workout room, track, wrestling room, just, different things. Have any of you toured Northwood yet, or the Humboldt one, or the Clear Lake one?
No, we feel good.
Okay.
We can get a bus.
Yeah.
Because I know Clarion, they're in the process of raising money right now on theirs.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and they've created a Facebook page, Clarion Rec Center. You can see a lot of how it's neat how they do their advertising. A lot of classes are having competitions on who can raise the most money per class, like class of 2010 versus the class of 2020, And as a class, they pledge so much money and they can pay it over 5 years or 3 years or whatever. And they're raising a lot of money that way.
And we know this isn't gonna happen overnight. It could take up to 2 years to get this thing done, but we wanna keep the ball moving forward, so. We wanna get to the point to where everybody's on the same page, so we can go out and start asking for donations.
Yeah, I didn't tip a penny with that in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was super fast.
I was gonna say, the location is the main hiccup.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if it's going to be connected to the school, or if it's gonna have anything to do with the school, that is like the first thing that we need, that would need to be identified.
I know the Clear Lake and Northwood one, I mean, they do theirs a lot on the honor system, the keep up thing, I mean, they got video surveillance everywhere, and they said they really haven't had any issues. So their staffing is pretty minimal.
And a lot of memberships, you said have, like you have to kind of take care of, wipe your bike down or wipe, whatever you're doing down, clean up after yourself. So I think that's in contracts too, that you wanna, one less thing for someone else to have to do. But yeah, so basically they just said, go out with this information. I don't know, will they have another school board meeting before the end of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have it the third Monday of every month.
Yeah.
So then we would try to.
So we'll have that information by the next board meeting. Other than, obviously you guys can decide,
But see, the other school boards for all these other places were completely on board. They wanted to see it happen. So That's the difference.
And I think the school board, I mean, they just had a lot of good questions and some concerns. They're not like against it, but they just want to make sure that, you know, that we think everything through, I guess.
But I think it also has to come down to like saying, okay, we're going to try this and start the conversation jointly to figure out if this is even gonna work.
Right.
But if we can't do that, then I don't know if it's gonna work. We can't.
Absolutely.
Like, I think it needs to go beyond a lot of questions because you could spend years asking every question in the book, but you need to like actually start kind of moving forward, whether it's just a conversation between the city and the school to talk, but like if the school doesn't have any interest in bonding for it or anything,
I mean,
it's a different conversation then.
right. And then there's, you know, some towns that just get pledged the entire amount by one person, you know, and that could happen. You could have someone who's throwing 3 million and be like, here, put this for the rest of it.
That may not happen.
I was gonna say, that'd be really
That'd be
nice.
right. But our main thing is if you guys would be on board, to be on board with the school, if they're on board. That's what we need to know. If you guys are totally against setting any money aside to help, we need to know that so we know what our next step is. Because of, and you don't have to decide right now, tonight, but we'd like to know whether or not you guys are on board, because then we need to make sure the school board's on board. And then, go together, because we have to have this be a joint thing.
I think we're definitely interested in looking at what it would cost and what the city would have to, you know, increase taxes to cover this, you know, the portion that we're gonna pay for. So we just have to know numbers and get their financial person and look at what, you know, we all have to do to pay for that, and if that's possible from us.
And what would we do to just get a survey out to the city? What would we have to do to like,
Has to go on the ballot.
it has to go on the ballot
We have to have an
Have
election.
to vote
in
in
November?
election, yeah.
Okay,
And so
But
that,
in order to go on the ballot, you gotta know how much it's gonna cost.
we gotta make sure we get everything. Okay,
well, yeah, and it's either,
and then we gotta know all the details before then.
Yeah.
and it's either the school taking out the note or it's the city taking out the note, but regardless, it has to go on the ballot. So then residents would vote on it.
Sure.
And that's the ultimate survey.
Right,
And I think you need, I think it's 60%
Okay,
in order for it to pass.
okay.
But Northwood did it, Clear Lake did it. It's possible if people believe in the project.
North Iowa did it, Westport did it. I mean, there's,
Let's go down the line and see what each one of your thoughts are.
I'm good with it. But I don't think it's gonna happen as fast as you want it to. I'm just being realistic here. Because all of this information has to be brought together and then it has to be put into a project. Ask those people that built the pool how long it took to do that. Because that's the same process. From the time they decided they were gonna try to build a pool until they opened the doors, find out how long that was. Because it's probably not gonna be any quicker for this. But yeah, I'm interested.
I was gonna say, I'd love to live in a community that had a rec center. I'm interested in exploring it, but it's gonna take a joint effort. Yeah.
And I've been working hard every day. I will pass on the rec center every now and then. It's always good, no matter what time of day it is. So I think something here would be a bonus for the community. Because I know like there is only 24 hours a day too. So people could go down there after work or, you know, before work or whatever. It's just get all the ducks in a row. You know, everything before it goes any farther, you know, make sure you got everything ready to go. You know, but I think it's possible.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely, I think in order for us to continue to grow as town, we need to be able to offer what the other communities are offering. Our kids, our adults, I mean, everybody needs recreation, everybody needs to work out. So to me, it's very, very important. And I'm definitely on board, I've told you that before. So I'm definitely on board, and I've also told you that any way that KIOW, we will certainly do that. Any fundraising opportunities that we need to do, we will certainly do that.
I agree with everything that the rest of the board has said, but prior to joining the city council, I didn't pay attention to a whole lot was going on, and this is May 7th. First time I've heard about it, first time I've seen you guys. If you want to do this, to me, don't drag your feet, because, I mean, been on the city council for 5 months, almost, well, 4 months, didn't know a thing about it. What took you so long to come here? But no, I'm 100% on board with it. We need something here, because kids need something to do besides sit at home and play video games. It definitely takes a while, so need to get running at it.
They did come to a meeting with a committee and,
Personnel finance committee.
yeah. So they did come to that, and it was just a preliminary thing, and what was said there was, yeah, go out and see what you can find out, talk to the contractor, or talk to the farmer, and talk to the school, and come back and talk to us, but yeah, so they have been working on it. But it just takes a long time just to get the runners.
Sure.
They're still working on that. But yeah, it's not gonna get done in a day. But, you know, for the last several months, on Tuesday and Thursday morning in Gardner, they had a woman's exercise group of 20, 30 people there every morning. A lot of them get there before 6 o'clock in the morning. And they start, I think, at 6. Very well attended. You know, and people want a good cup of coffee anymore. They want a rec center. That's just the way it is. You know, but they all cost money. You know, so yeah, you gotta get the community behind it. But this community is big enough to support it, I think. You know, if you go over there to Gardner on any given morning, except for that larger group exercising, just a regular activities, it's a lot of mornings, it's half or more Britt. So, well, you know, that place, they miss us. You know, but that's great. But, yeah, I think it's a really good thing. And I think we need to keep moving on it. And we'll do what we can do. But yeah, the big thing is, we can't speak for the public. You know, we just got to present them a good case. And the big thing again is, if you could raise half the funds, that's going to be a whole lot easier to solve the public on.
We did talk to someone that said, health insurance, some different companies offer benefits for premiums to people.
Sure.
With that gym membership, and then our hospital, I know, would be interested in maybe even like doing something for all of their employees to better their health.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of wellness programs like that going on. To save money on their health insurance. So, yeah, good stuff.
So just something maybe we should hold on to so we can, use that to when
So as soon as we should be getting a lot of the answers to these questions in the next, I would say, week to 10 days. And we're gonna meet the school board again. So I guess what should we tell the board that we've learned from you guys?
We just want to know what the school board does. So,
Yeah, definitely. And I think then once that happens, then the school, like, once the school board says they're also on board, then I think that means the city and the school board need to get together, right? Whether it's superintendent and the city administrator and the mayor meeting with the superintendent to talk about like who's gonna carry the note if we do a note, and kind of hammer out some of those details, because yeah, it would. But I think that would be the step. I would tell the school board that the city council is interested in having a wellness center in our community, but it depends on.
It's not gonna pass the vote if the school and the council is not behind it. We definitely have to have all of it. You know, so, and we're certainly willing to work with them, and I can't imagine they're not willing to work with us.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah.
Glad somebody picked it up and got it rolling.
And I do know that that's a difference from this wellness center, rec center compared to other communities. For the other communities, it's either the city or the school entity proposing the idea to the other.
Yeah.
And so it's not a group of private citizens doing it all. So that's the difference in this respect.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the level of work that you guys have had to put into just putting this together when you have other jobs and kids and all kinds of other stuff to do.
But it shows how much they care.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, department head reports. Linda.
Okay. You have my report?
I didn't do that for nothing.
You should have my
You
report.
gotta go very close.
Yep.
Okay. Are we good?
Mhm.
She says,
Everybody here okay?
I can talk loud enough for they can hear me.
Yeah, but the people looking.
Are we ready? Okay. There were 2 early outs in April, so that meant there were 2 BLAST, which is our Britt Library after school time programs for kids in grades K through 5. Both of them were very well attended. The session tomorrow, Wednesday, May 8th, will feature a visit with the current Miss Iowa, Alyssa Goff. She had contacted the library. Libraries are a passion of hers, so she's visiting quite a few throughout the state. We're happy to have her come. She's going to be doing a program with the kids that show up, so should be fun. Carol Couch, who's my children's librarian, attended the POP YS, which is Youth Services Conference in Ames in April, followed by a summer reading summit the following morning. She brought back many great ideas for enhancing our programs and materials for youth. She is working on a dramatic play area for our children's room with support from many area businesses. She brought back 3 new puppets also. I attended the North Iowa Library Symposium in Mason City. There were excellent sessions, including speakers on the Iowa Humanities Program, mental illness programs, opioid overdose education, and intruder training. Carol got puppets, I got Narcan. There will be a staff training meeting in the next week, so we need to go over some of protocols for that. On April 9th, Duffy Hudson was back in Britt and provided an entertaining program on Nikola Tesla that was very well received. The Britt Library was awarded a $900 CPPC grant, which is Community Partnerships Protecting Children. This money is to be used to enhance our summer reading program with performances and free books for the kids.
And I requested an extension on the completion of the patio pergola project, that are the funds from the Iowa, or the American Library Association's Libraries Transforming Communities Grant. That was initially to be completed by the end of June. I've asked for a couple more months, and this has been granted. Any questions?
I've been seeing a lot of social media posts about the Cassuth County Board of Supervisors not providing funding or cutting their funding for libraries. Do you think that's gonna have, those are your colleagues essentially? You work
Yes,
with-
they are. And I used to be the library director in West Bend, so some of our funds came from Cassuth County. I know a lot of them. I do know that the Hancock County supervisors are much smarter people, and they have approved our budget. Just, we don't have the funds yet, it usually comes in the fall, but they have approved what we had asked for.
And does it, from what you're hearing from your colleagues, are there those libraries likely going to close?
There are 12 libraries in Cassuth County, and at least 3 of them will close. Because they're in, in a small enough community, Britt and Garner, we can have more support from our city, obviously. In some of the smaller towns, even in our county, like Woden and Crystal Lake, they have very few or limited city funds. So if you lose your county funding, and the counties do collect money for library support from their taxpayers. So, it's a huge mess, in my opinion. And I hope that they can come to some resolution in July with putting some of that funding back for them. Because in a lot of those towns that it is, it's one of the few business or open places for kids to go, the elderly to go. So if they are necessary.
Well, yeah, and it's not necessarily always easy to travel to Britt to go to the library.
Right. Well, especially if you're a child or, an elderly person, that's not, we certainly welcome them. I mean, we get people from Wesley that use our library quite often just because our hours are more available to them. So, and there is some reciprocal state funding. So when that happens, we get a little bit of state funding back to cover what's called open access.
Good.
Okay. Good questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Matt, public works.
Some of the stuff that we got done this month. Spent a lot of time at the water plant with the general contractor down there. Did some training, especially on the new filter tank. We should hopefully be getting one of the high pressure pumps was faulty. And that should be hopefully returned this month to get that in. There has been a hiccup with some day tanks for the chemicals. They have to get the correct sizing right. Otherwise the DNR won't let us. You can have too much in a day tank. So that's kind of an issue. It's kind of where we're sitting at right now, waiting on that. Attended the wastewater conference at NIAC. Certified pool operators, CEU class. We got the new pump that we bought last year installed at the pool. We had to put in a new valve and a water line had broke due to the frost. Attended the water plant progress meeting. We had a South Britt sign was damaged by wind, and I had to take that down and Booth Welding and repair that for us. Got our dump truck back, or not back, received the dump truck from Algona. Had some repairs made on the grader and the loader, flushed the hydrants, replaced the stop sign, empty and cleaning the pool, and we should start filling tomorrow. Maybe.
Maybe natural.
Yeah. I met with Eric from Bolton and Mink about the 2nd Avenue Southeast Sewer Project.
I did attach that quote. He originally thought $500,000 to $750,000, and it came out an estimate of $383,000. I believe. I gotta get to the
373.
He's gonna come talk to us about next month. But they're talking, the way he looked at it, the way they're thinking is that the sewer's in good enough shape to just line it and not have to open it, and then they would line the manholes. Just as a summary, the one on Second Street southwest, or southeast at Second Avenue, there's two manholes there, and they would combine them into one. So there's a big number on that. Due to alignment from the sewer to the south. One sewer manhole would have to be majorly adjusted. And then they would dig in new sewer services from the main to the curb line. Because there was less than 20 sewer services on that line to dig in, and then patch those back in, and then be able to line. Just summary quick, he'll tell you a lot more in detail.
I had a guy I talked to yesterday, there was a couple of blocks this way. Just a block and a half or whatever from the new plant. Said it would get all kinds of chunks and stuff in water.
No, they're not from.
And he said all the lines from that plant to his place are new. But he's been getting a lot of chunks. He ran water to clean out all the garbage in the lines. And a $400 or $500 water bill.
Just down the aisle. Yeah, I've been trying to help him with that. And so we've set it up to where he's running water. I don't think he ran enough water through that house sat empty for quite a while. And with the length of the service line, we had just flushed the hydrants on his street and isolated his main. And we had great looking water come out of the hydrant.
Okay.
You know, we're trying to help that gentleman.
Okay. Cool.
Vance, have we heard from the contractor who's supposed to redo the curbs on Main?
Just today,
Good news, bad news?
the city administrator got it coming.
Thursday, he's coming over at 1 o'clock to speak with Vance, about the project, and then he should be starting soon after, so.
Because they're looking really bad.
I know.
Yes.
Dangerous.
Thank you.
Tyler's,
Tyler's outside, go ahead, John, let's go ahead.
You should have my short report. We had 2 calls of service, 2 standbys out the racetrack. Training for last month, we had hose lays on the truck, unloaded 1,800 feet of 5-inch hose, inspected it, and then reloaded it out in the north addition. We also had a refresher with the ambulance on another night for race car safety and what to do out the racetrack. We've been getting, I've got 5 businesses with Knox boxes in the area. And we've got 8 sets of coats and bunker pants that we got in 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. You guys acted on the budget, and I thank you for that. So hopefully we get a grant for the rest of the stuff and get that taken care of. So
Because that's about a third of the,
correct.
and that was a pretty penny too.
Yes, it is.
Like $7,000 for.
About $5,000 a man. Excuse me, a firefighter. I'm sorry. So, any other questions?
Thank you. Got it. Perfect.
You should have my report. And with that, the calls for service, with the numbers with our department and the surrounding departments. We had a total of 92 calls between April 1st and May 6th. The radar from the 2014 Explorer being taken out of there and being replaced inside the truck. Since the 2014 is kind of on the way out, and the one in the truck has not been working. So we're getting those switched around, and still waiting on the radio for the truck. I did hear back from electronic engineering. It did give me the new quote, which I signed the paperwork on. We're just waiting for the radio to come in now. So once that is in, they will let me know, and then we just give that quote to Buffington, and they said they would take care of that. I attended a grant writing class on the 29th and 30th of April, so I can get better understanding on how to write and apply for grants in the future. I didn't add this to the report, I forgot, but Jordan also attended a training from Blue to Gold training, and he does a lot of those kind of online trainings. They're free. So he did one of those this month. It's like traffic stops and canines. And then been working on some abatements. I think it was 16 letters sent out for either junk or abandoned vehicles last week, and working on a couple more for grass and some buildings and others. And then we held interviews last Wednesday, and then also last night. 3 candidates, 3 certified officers. I have done 2 conditional offers to 2 of those candidates, and we have 1 that has accepted. So we have to wait for you guys to approve that. But we did have 1 accept the conditional offer, and the other one's talking it over and just getting back to me. So moving forward.
Thank you.
Any questions from you?
No, thank you.
Thanks.
For everybody here, I was mayor before 14 years. I've said this to some people, but I couldn't remember anybody. We hired a lot of police officers during that time. I couldn't remember ever getting a police officer apply that was certified already. And this time we got all 3 that applied were certified. Very unusual. And that's a compliment to Tyler and your department. That's a compliment. So thank you. Zoning, Mike.
You should have my report. We had 2 permits issued in the month of April. Kurt Smith is doing a deck on the front of his house, and Tricia Hall is did a fence and type dog kennel. Had several people that I talked to about zoning. Spencer Gear had questions about repairing a shed. Mike Muth wanted to know if we could add on to the east side of his weld shop. John with CRC had sign questions. Deb Stevens had questions about possibly rezoning buildings. And Deanna Johnson Signs had questions about the CRC sign location. Michelle Miller had questions about bringing in a huge 12 by 120 foot building into her property, and she did not have room. Damon Baker has a permit form to send in. He said he mailed it in to the city for that building he's got on Main Street. And John Johnson called, had questions about sign sizes. And there was a question brought up by Josh Bond whether they could make his house into a daycare when no one was living. So that was the month of April.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
golf course, Sandy.
Andy, did you get your financials yet? Or they didn't? Okay, so, Fort and Schlegel don't have them ready yet. So she can't present that. Do you want to update council on anything in particular? Or can I present the invoice?
On April 24th, let me come there. On
It'd be
April
better, yeah.
24th, Give 'em Green was brought in by, Grass Masters. Give 'em Green liked our story. They donated for our entire golf course microbes, which were sprayed on April 24th. And an interview with myself, with Ryan, and I'm gonna call him the mad scientist behind these microbes. They did a video. They flew in the vice president. They flew in the drone driver. They flew in a photographer. And they did photographs, drones, everything, before the work of the greens was done, before the microbes were applied throughout the entire course. And then April 25th is my amount. So far, our memberships is 22,850 with 64 memberships brought. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Pretty exciting. Next we have the invoice from Grass Masters. So originally we paid $2,500 upfront. We were supposed to pay another $2,500 for the maintenance to the irrigation system. It ended up coming out more than what was expected. I did tell them that we would like to know beforehand if it's gonna go over the agreed upon amount. So. Anyway.
Okay, so I just found out about this afternoon.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone over the amount though, because he said $5,000.
Yeah, but we paid $2,500 up front, and now he's charging us $4,027.89. So that's 66, yeah, the 60.
So it's like $1,600.
Yep, it's $1,527.89 more than what was expected.
Which 5,000 was an estimate, so, and you were well aware of that.
Yeah, I don't think I understood what he was talking about, so I think I was confused. But.
You said, did you not, that you said something about being able to pay what we budgeted and then the rest after July 1st?
Yeah, so we didn't, I didn't realize it was gonna cost this much, so it's about that $1,600 over budget. I did tell him that we're not gonna be able to pay that full amount until after, just because we get audited and we're over budget in those lines, we get in trouble, and he said he was fine with that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask him for a separate invoice. Basically,
For the difference.
yeah. So if I could get a motion to approve that invoice. No, just kidding. Because it's gonna be a different amount. So I lied, don't do that.
2,500 and approve the rest of the year.
Yeah, sure, we can do that. Sorry, and I thought that the $2,500 was gonna be paid in next fiscal year. That's what I thought.
Oh, yeah, because it was in our budget.
Yeah, so I thought it was gonna be paid next fiscal year, but it's this year. So, I think there's a lot of confusion with me, with not understanding what he was talking about. Either he didn't explain himself correctly or I didn't understand it correctly, so.
Well, probably goes both ways.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not used to working in the city.
But didn't we have a quote from them?
So $2,500 is upfront. And that was stated on the estimate. But I talked to him and he said it was gonna be $5,000. The other $2,500, I assumed was gonna be after the golf course closed. So September-ish time. That's what I assumed. That was inaccurate. So it was for the work they had to get done. Basically for ordering parts, is what you said, or ordering materials, Angie?
Well, yeah, the $2,500 up front was to cover anything that he was going to do.
Yeah.
Over and above what he had already done last year. And then he said that you requested an invoice, and he said, I can't give you an invoice, I can give you an estimate. Which he did. So you didn't say that it had to be dated in September.
No, but when he explained.
So yes, it did go over 1,600, but,
we weren't able that it was gonna go over. Like, we should have gotten a call saying, hey.
but after winter, he didn't know that there was,
Yeah.
because he didn't get everything assessed at the end of the year.
Either way, we'll do better communicating back and forth with him going forward, just because obviously we just need better information.
Really, $1,500 more and 30%, that's a pretty good chunk over. But, do. As long as she's putting them to wait.
Yeah, that's what we do, so.
So technically, it's going to be all next fiscal year, right?
Part of it, yep. So
The
we'll pay the,
overage is, right?
yes, yep, so we'll pay the $2,500 that we owe, and then pay the rest. July 1st or sometime after July 1st.
Do you guys know how bad your sound system is?
Yeah, we're working on it. I mean,
We
it's
have been
new.
working on it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice for grass masters to be paid after first of July.
Partially paid.
Second.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So next we have the park and rec salaries. So they want to pay the soccer instructor $200, which is the same from last year. Golf instructor went up $50. They need 2 of those. And then arts and crafts instructors is actually down $50. They had a main person for $550. And a second person for $300. So it went down 50 total. And then they're gonna continue to pay $60 an evening for the umpires. I can get a motion to approve those salary amounts. Someone like,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
We have to approve a pay application, Tanker Construction, it's number 22, for the water treatment plant, the amount of $16,022.70. I can get a motion to approve that. The engineers did approve it.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So next we also have the, and this could also be just more knowledge just because this doesn't fall into next fiscal year, but the estimate from KC Tree Services to treat the Emerald Ash board is $40,000. He does think it's gonna be a little less than that. When we spoke, but he just wanted to send an email saying that that is what he's quoting us. I know Angie wanted to know if the city was gonna treat the trees, and I said that would have to be brought up to council to discuss. It's not currently budgeted, but
Can I ask a question
yes.
or make a statement rather?
Mhm.
That was brought up last year in September,
Yes,
that you didn't do it
yeah, but
last year, so wouldn't it have been in the budget for this year? Or shouldn't it have been in the budget for this year?
Why do we treat the trees?
Because they're gonna die.
Oh, so we don't need trees at the golf course? I mean, we don't treat them at the golf course?
yeah, it's just a lot of money. That's, I mean, city has to look at the finance, what we're able to afford.
Because Elizabeth, the 40 grand that KNC Tree Service quoted, that is for the second treatment on trees that were already treated 2 years ago, correct?
Yes.
How are the trees doing at the golf course, Angie?
Two people donated money to have 6 done last year. But the city is well aware that last year, the person that brought it to you said that there's at least 12 to 20 more that need treated. Or they're gonna die within the next year or two.
Yeah, and so I
The
told,
dissension of those trees
I told
started.
Angie, yesterday or today, I don't remember when we spoke, that KNC Tree Service can come look at the trees when they come and look at ours again, to let us know what it would cost to treat those and if they're too far gone or what it's gonna take. Obviously, we don't have numbers here to prove that right now. But when they go do our trees or come over and look at ours, they are gonna go look at those and.
So 4 years ago, you guys weren't aware of this?
No.
I feel like, other members of the golf course board would disagree with that statement.
The former president decided not to treat them out there.
That's for sure, because that's not what I was told by the secretary.
Because you got the trees behind. There was a part of the nursery started behind the tree on 2 years ago. And that was part of the changing the trees around the building.
That's what I had heard. I had heard that there was thinking that maybe it would be better to put that money towards replacing those trees with something other than ash as they die off. I don't know.
So we would rather spend $4,000 to $6,000 on a tree, than $200 to try to save the trees that are there. I mean, when you're considering how big the trees are, I don't think anyone wants a little seedling to go in that's gonna take 30 years to grow.
So, I
I'm
mean,
not saying I'm for that. I'm saying that I heard that from the golf course.
Well, it's great what we heard. It's all great what we heard. What are we doing?
We just talked about
No, what we're talking of, what you're talking about, Jim, is what you heard was done in the past. What are we doing from this day forward?
Yeah.
That's what we need to talk about.
That's what we're talking about, yeah.
and I mean,
But we were talking about, he said, why nothing was done, because from what Van said had heard, the former president said not to.
When I know the city explored treating the golf course trees 2 years ago, but it was just too big of a fight, like it.
yeah, it was like
Because there are,
almost double the cost of it, so it would have been like $60,000 to treat
There's a
65.
lot of trees out there.
Yeah,
And the golf courses have a lot of trees. The
They're
city
not all
owns the golf
ash
course.
trees either.
They're not all ash trees.
Right.
Yeah. There's literally like 20 ash trees out there, total.
I mean, the city has a tight budget, so it's just depending on what council thinks it's,
Evidently, you don't remember, like, from one quarter to the next, because we discussed it in September,
Mhm.
and then I brought it to you with my original offer to buy this place in February, with you guys taking care of that, so that should have jogged your memory again. But it didn't. And now you're saying that there's no money for it again.
we're not saying that, we're just saying that we haven't gotten quotes for that, so.
I question the city's tight budget that you talk about. I think the city's a little looser with their money than what you're portraying. The city has plenty of money to send out certified letters at $10 a pop to my 76-year-old mother, whose yard is meticulously kept, because I pay the local high school lawn boys to do so, to make sure that there's no weeds and that everything is nice and neat. For everything in her yard is licensed, everything. Because the boat that was owned by my dad, her deceased husband, hasn't moved in 5, 7, 8 years because it's her husband's and she doesn't want to sell it, hasn't moved in 8 years. The city thinks it's a nuisance. It's not a nuisance. It's parked behind her garage, nice and neat, with no weeds and nothing. But you mailed her a $10 certified letter saying it was a nuisance? You have plenty of money. And I'm not doing anything, and I'm excited for the city to fine her at $1,000 a day. That's what you guys are gonna do? You're gonna fine her $1,000 a day for her boat parked behind her garage that's licensed? Because it hasn't moved in years, is what I was told by the police chief. And I asked him, like, seriously, Tyler? He's like, the city told me they want me to do this. I said, I got this, Mom. Let them fine you $1,000 a day. That's what they need to do. That'll help pay for those ash trees, right, guys? $10 a day for a certified letter?
So we don't need to act on that road dashboard estimate, that's for fiscal year 25.
Okay, well, you guys have, the quotes from, North Iowa Community Action, or North Iowa Council of Governments, sorry. They're quoting us $8,000 to redo the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance. We have to do the comprehensive plan. The zoning ordinance is way overdue to be done, so, $8,000 each. We are gonna be having a representative come to the next meeting to speak about the issues, with our plan, or our current plans, and then, so at that special meeting in May 21st, yeah. He will be over to talk about this,
The zoning ordinance,
both,
yeah.
yeah, we both need done. And I know, a lot of people on the zoning board are anxious to get started on redoing our zoning, so.
So someone from NICOG will be coming to speak?
Yeah, John Robbins will be coming to speak on that issue. Those issues.
I'd like to go back to this asphalt problem. So we're not doing nothing this year?
No, we are, it's just
Budgeted for
Second treatment for the city trees, other than.
Well, yeah, but
July
it
1st.
didn't come to us to follow that way. So I just wondered.
Oh, yeah,
So what we're doing this year?
yeah, the second treatment, 'cause it's a 6-year, every other year for 6 years, so we'll have one more treatment after this.
And it's budgeted for fiscal year 20.
We have $40,000 budgeted for this next year.
Yep, for the trees, yes.
And you mentioned just earlier that he's estimating it's gonna come in under the 40,000.
Yeah,
His best guess at this point.
yes, last year costed 37,000. He thinks it'll be a little over that. He wouldn't see it being over 40,000.
It's a 3-step process, once every 2 years for 6 years.
Yes.
Then why don't we plan at this point, whatever is under the 40,000, we put toward the trees at the golf course, because if there's 20 of them, you said approximately, I'm just saying, we'll say 20 at this point, we said 6 of them were treated, right? That leaves $2,800 to treat the rest of them, if there's 20. To at least do something, why not put whatever, if there's money left of the 40,000, that we put that toward whatever trees we can do out there.
Because that's what you're saying with.
And that's still within our budget then. If it's less than.
Yeah,
40 we
yeah,
have
so
budget.
he'd have to look, because originally, I know when Keith talked about it, they had a lot more trees than that, and it would have been double the price.
You
So,
guys cut a bunch of those down.
yeah, I don't know,
I'm
but,
just saying, whatever's left over.
Yep.
We have 40,000 budgeted, let's just plan on spending all 40,000, hopefully we have enough left to at least treat some of the trees out there and get it started. And then the next budget, we can worry about whatever else is out there. If it has not been sold or something else done, at least we can start something this year if we have the money under 40,000.
Because I think it's dependent on like the size of the tree too, so
Right.
you would have to inspect them and then we'd have to figure out, okay, $2,500 can go towards.
so I'll talk to
I mean,
him.
if we have less, you said he's gonna look at it when he comes anyway. We'll at least have something, we can at least do something out there rather than absolutely nothing.
Yeah. When does he usually come? He wanted to get started already, but I told him we couldn't do it until after July, just because our budget's, But, I can tell him to come over and look at it anytime, I guess, and give us a quote for what it would take for the golf course.
I mean, at least then we'll know how many are out there, because right now we're guessing. And we
Can I
don't
just
know how
say
much
that-
they're gonna cost.
The 6 that were treated are on hole 9, or,
Okay.
excuse me, on hole 6. On the west side of hole 6.
And they should have, I mean, according to Kate or Kelly, that they should have like a little hole and something on the bottom to be able to tell if they've been treated, so.
Well, this would have been the same company that treated them, right?
Did you guys use Casey?
Yes.
No, did you use Casey Tree Services? You didn't use them?
Use Gotcha.
Okay,
I mean, they're still gonna be able to tell whether they've had a treatment or not.
yeah, they should be.
That's, I believe he said something like anywhere between $100 to $200 per tree, he said, depending on how they look.
Okay.
There's some big trees out there.
Yeah, so I'll email him tomorrow and see when he's available to come look at the golf course trees.
At least then you have an idea or a list.
Yeah.
Because some probably aren't too far gone, because he'd be able to say that too, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah, he'll be able to tell us if they're not taking it.
Then at least we can make a plan on what we can and can't do.
Thank you, Jeff.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Next we have a quote, to upgrade our copier and, our phone system. Currently we're paying about $220 for our copier. This would be about $258, so it's a little higher, but our copier isn't running as well as it should be. It's getting old. I think it'll be 6 years, which isn't that old, but how much we use it, it's just, it needs maintenance. And so we have a lease agreement and they would provide us with an updated copier. And then our current phones, if somebody calls us, we have no way of calling them back unless they leave a phone number. We don't have, rarely does it show like a phone number on our phones. So honestly, it's only $20 more expensive per month because we would not be going through COM1 for our phone system. It would just be our internet with the library. So this includes the library. Sorry for that.
Question for you on the copiers.
Mhm.
With the lease, we get 2,385 black and white and 950 color.
Mhm.
Are these colored?
Yeah. Yeah, it prints automatically. I try to make copies black and white, but I print them off typically this time.
I was gonna say, we could save.
Yes, I
There's no
do.
reason we need color
Yes.
on any of this stuff.
Yep.
Just to save a few, because it's 7 cents compared to 1 cent.
So
Adds up after a while.
I will do better at that. But yeah, typically I make copies in black and white and I only print the first page colored, so. Yeah, so the phone system would only be about $20 more per month. And the phones are free. They have a plan right now where we get, if we get approved, if council approves it in the next 10 days, we get all 4 phones free for the library and city hall. So you can see a picture of what they look like. And we've had our phones for a long time and sometimes we have trouble hearing people. Yeah.
It was difficult to hear.
Yeah, we do have trouble hearing people, so hopefully this would solve this issue. And I mean, there's just a lot of cool things, like, they could leave me a voicemail. So for Marcy, press 1, for Elizabeth, press 2. I don't get voicemail, so Marcy has to take all my messages and then remember to give them to me, or vice versa. I mean, and that it works fine, but it's just better if it gets relayed directly to that person. So we're excited about it if council approves it.
So instead of paying, so you'd be reducing the COM1 bill
Yes,
and then increasing
the
visual edge.
Yep, and we're currently with them for our copiers, we're just including the phones.
There's how much difference?
It ends up being about $20 more a month for the phones, and then about $40 or $30 more a month for the copier, which we've had that copier lease for 5 years.
And how much do we pay COM1 for the phone?
Well, a lot. I just know I did the math and it was $20. We'd be paying $20 more between me and the library for these phones. So $10 more.
How much would the COM1 bill go down?
I don't have that math with me right now, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Library have any problems, fine?
Well, sometimes. Yeah. I mean, we had just switched our internet service to COM1. And I think we used to pay like $65 a month for just our phone. And now we're paying about $100 more with the internet also. So.
I was gonna say, that makes sense.
I'm just gonna suggest that I own a business in town too, and I understand what you're saying. I would maybe look into call center. We have COM1 as well. Our internet is $65 a month. That's what we pay, or 80, maybe it's 80, we're business.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but then we have call center, and I have about 4 or 5 different lines. I think it's 5 different lines, like him, me, like different whatever. And our call center line is $28.90. It's all internet based, so it all goes through COM1. And all you have to do is buy the phone. Like you have to originally, the down, like you buy the phone, and then everything goes through the internet, and I absolutely love it. My business aspect is it's very cheap, it's very inexpensive, so like, I think the city, for what you're talking, and if the library needs a line, if the police, you don't want to call the police, that's not, but you could get as many lines as you wanted added there, and I mean, I add people all the time, I take people off of it, and it's just, there's no added cost, it's $28.90. This is callcentric.com. I don't know what you got going on or whatnot, that's another potential.
Yeah, I don't know what they would be able to do for like, you said that it's the same thing they call and big for Kim Dahl.
Yeah,
Press. Okay.
Press 1,
Okay.
press 2, press 3, press
Yeah.
4, press.
And you can see who's all called you and
Yeah.
everything. Okay, because like that, yeah.
There's caller ID, there's everything.
Okay,
And
okay.
it all goes through email. The other thing I love about it is all the voicemails go through email. So the mayor can hear all the emails.
And that's
all the voicemails go to the mayor. You can go, everybody can hear everything, or you can pick and choose where you want things to go.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, I mean, we can look into it. When
There's another option. It's very inexpensive, and I've been on it now for 10 years, and I have had no complaints and no issues.
So they gave us 14 days from the 30th to approve this, or otherwise we don't get the phones for free, but I mean, if it's that much cheaper.
My copier is also, I work with Visual Edge also, so they have worked very well.
Yeah, they have something local that comes, if we ever have any problems, they're here and they're here right away.
I'm saying you only have 14 days to get the free phones, just a sales tactic, just tell them you want another quote and they'll tell you you get them free again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, he told me that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
We're nothing special for them to tell us to get free phones, but only for the next 14 days. Okay.
So, I don't know, what are your thoughts? You guys want me to look into call center?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You can always go back and do
Yeah, we need the copier, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
but I wouldn't do this without investigating that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because then if she's saying that you would just, have to pay for your phones, you can get whatever phone you wanted.
Mhm.
Well, you have to get a VO. A VOP, it's called a voice over, yeah, like a VOP phone. It's not like you can just go to Walmart and buy, like.
Yeah.
You gotta get a VOP phone, but we love them, they're very good phones. They're just like a cordless phone. If
Okay,
you have any questions, Elizabeth, I'll make Richard help you.
yeah.
Like,
No,
he's very smart with that type of stuff.
yeah, we'll look into it. We'll look at callcenter.com is what you said?
No,
Call center.
call centric, like CALLCENTRIC.
Okay. Okay. And we'll look into it and then we'll come back with some more quotes, maybe for the special meeting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe it's before the 14th. So we don't really need any motion for this, but we will probably need engineering help for demolition of the old church, just because our threshold is $81,000 and between doing the asbestos survey, the removal if there is asbestos, and the demolition, it'll probably be over $81,000. So they've helped us kind of start the process, but they don't feel, which we can't do anything further until we own the property. But just know that when we do, we are ready to act on it immediately. So I know we want to get that torn down or taken down as soon as possible.
Is that a church across from now?
Yep.
I had a neighbor talk to me about it today.
Yeah, yep. Next we have, the golf course appraisal quote. So they're quoting us $4,500 to appraise the building and land. They, are out of Des Moines. So. I don't know what all information you want on that.
So essentially, they're independent.
Yes, and they've appraised multiple golf courses, so.
So you think it'll be that much more than 2020 when you had it appraised or what?
Oh, I don't know if we ever had it appraised. Yeah, we've never had it appraised.
If it was appraised in 2020, do you have any idea of the real estate market in the last 4 years? It would need to be reappraised anyway.
Yes, $4,500.
I'll make the motion to approve the, golf course appraisal
I'll second it.
for $4,500. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next, we have, the golf course consultant quote. They're out of Des Moines as well, or Davenport, sorry. And their minimum fee is $5,000. They have worked with a couple of golf courses. They have never worked with a public golf course, so, I don't know, I guess, what we would do, what they all, I guess, if they know the steps that we have to take. You know, we're different than a private entity. We can't just talk to people. It needs to be.
How many different places have we looked at to assist us?
So I gave you a copy of an email, Ehlers and Cooney, just something of the sorts. They didn't give me I didn't realize that they did this. I was on their website today and I saw that they did real estate, and I called them and they didn't answer, and emailed them. And they did get back to me pretty quickly, but they would like more time to look at the situation before they could give us an accurate quote. So I don't know if we want to wait on that a little bit. At least we got the appraisal started. So I can give you guys some more information, hopefully at the special meeting or the next regular session meeting.
Because you said you reached out to the league.
Yeah.
And to fellow city administrators.
Yes.
And there were.
Nobody that, one city administrator is the one that gave me, the appraisal people, and then they gave me, the Marigold Resources, business to reach out to, and, they quoted us the $5,000 at a minimum, and then I reached out to Ehlers and Cooney today.
Because we already work with Ehlers and Cooney.
Yes. For the urban renewal plan is through them, and they, obviously that all they specialize in public, law, so they specialize in public real estate. I know that process very well, so.
And the city's wanting consulting for the golf course in regards to.
Selling, yeah, so like walking us through that process.
So is this something where I need to go take all my stuff that is mine away from there? And are they?
She's not being threatening. She is not, that's not at all. There is no, we cannot refuse the asset at all. Angie has added value to the golf course. Does Angie need to remove the value that she has added to the golf course?
So, I mean, we can definitely talk to the appraisal company. I don't know if they're gonna appraise like the appliances and stuff like that you purchased. Obviously, we would
What
talk.
about the greens and all of that, where we just got this company in there who donated $50,000 worth of microbes to the golf course because they're following me. The agricultural side of it.
I think the discussion was just to have it appraised and get a consulting quote because an offer was presented to us and we're just exploring what that process even looks like. 'Cause we weren't necessarily considering selling the golf course. We thought we would continue with the lease agreement. Well, now we have a board that said they don't they're not wishing to continue a lease agreement, and that lease agreement expires on June 30th, and so it's just, there's a lot of things that are.
We gotta get all of our ducks in a row so we know what we shouldn't do also.
And that all makes 1,000, it makes.
So right now,
You know, like I just heard you guys say,
Done anyway.
like $10,000 we're wanting to spend on this, between the appraisal and the consultant. And then I hear you say you don't have the money to treat the ash trees, and you don't have, I'm confused, like, how do we have the money to do this? But we don't have the money to take care of the forest. But the city doesn't, like, do we wanna own it, but we don't wanna own it, we wanna do this, but we don't wanna do this. What do you guys wanna do?
So you think the city should sell it for
No,
the quoted price and not know, have any idea what it's worth?
that's not what I'm saying, Jim, what I'm saying is, I don't think the city gets to let it go to shit,
I mean,
while you decide what you're gonna do.
we just donated $15 or donator.
I get it,
Yep. So I mean,
but it took us a lot to get you there, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
It took us a lot to get you guys there. And not all of you, I think you guys are a new board, that's not fair to say all of you, that's not, I mean, it did take a lot to get the city of Britt, not this council, that's not what I'm saying. Please understand that. You know, but it did take a lot to get the city there. It's, and like Angie said, the trees, like it has been brought here, we have to keep coming and coming. If you guys can just $10,000, just.
I didn't hear anybody approve $10,000.
No, I know you haven't yet, you know, but it's these things that.
Then we need to deal with the facts. Not something that might happen, something that has happened.
Okay.
The county tax appraisal on that property is over $400,000. It's over $300,000 for the land and $112,000, I believe, for the building. We know it's not worth that. We can't sell it for that. You know, but we want to know what we can sell it for. Or what's reasonable. We owe it to the public to figure out, you know, what it's really worth. I would like nothing better than have the city not have to go through these same arguments every year. You know, or discussion.
I just want somebody that cares about the golf course.
Absolutely, that's what we want.
And I don't want you to, I'm here for the golf course, I'm not here for Angela. I am here for the golf course. Like, I don't want anybody to think that I'm misguided in my whatever. I want to make sure that that golf course survives and is taken care of and is in the right hands.
And to do that, we need to spend some money to make sure it's done properly.
And I understand that, I do, Jeff, but in the process of us spending money, that we can't just let things go to hell.
We only have so much money, we put a lot of money toward the greens. Yeah, you can say it took a lot to get the council there, but the council is there, they're spending money on the course. Can't do everything all at once. You're a businesswoman, you know that as well as anybody here. You can't do everything all at once. And $5,000 get a decent appraisal, so we know what it's really worth, is a drop in the bucket compared to an offer we currently have that we can't accept anyway, because we have to go through the process and post it and get everybody's bid on it. And we aren't gonna know if anybody said we're close unless we spend the money to get it appraisal. So we kind of don't have a choice at this point to do that.
I think the entire city would be in uproar if you guys didn't get it appraised.
Exactly.
I think that's a smart, I think that's, but I don't know about this consultant thing. I think that's a double whammy.
Well, they'd help us through the process to make sure that we're doing everything correctly.
I thought that's what Overhill did.
And I agree with you, we need to talk about it.
Yeah, because you just said that the consultant didn't ever work with the.
That's why I wanted to reach out to more. That's why I found another quote, but it was last minute and they work with public entities. And so, council wanted me to look into it. I did. I wanted to present them what I did find. Because it was set at the last meeting for me to do that, so I'm just doing what I'm told.
Bolton Inc. has worked with us quite a bit and hopefully they'll come up.
Ehlers and Cooney, he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ehlers and Cooney has worked with us for a lot of things,
Quite a bit.
and they work.
Jim, I can't hear anything.
Go ahead.
The engineering firm has worked with us quite a bit on different projects. And so, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I feel pretty comfortable working with them. We'll have to see what they come up with for a price. Hopefully, they can beat that $5,000 price. And quite a bit. But we'll see. Yeah, that's up to discussion as far as consulting goes. It's not a given. But we did go for the appraisal code. And that was definitely recommended from
And Earl
attorneys.
recommended that we get a consultant because he doesn't specialize in golf courses or anything like that. So that was a recommendation that Earl gave us. So
if we wait, we get the appraisal, that gives us time to look for other consultants and figure out the best course of action there. But we really can't do anything till we really know what it's worth.
Yeah, it says it takes 6 weeks for authorization.
So that gives us plenty of time to find a better consultant, have other ideas of what we can and can't do. But we need the appraisal
So
first.
that
and
also
worry about
gives you
that.
guys six more weeks of me working for free.
Well, you have the lease through June 30th, don't you?
Yeah, the golf
but
course
it
board
doesn't mean that I have.
Golf course board, I'm sorry.
I've been working for over a year for free with the intent that I was going to buy this.
Whoever told you that was going to happen though?
There were 2 people that said they were not out to make money and that they would probably sell it for what they had in it. Actually, there's probably more than 2 people that said that.
I still didn't hear where any certain person said you would be the one buying.
I was the one that was talking to them. I was the one that said I would like to buy it. And, yeah. And then it got held over for another year. And now you're telling me that it could be another year. And by another year, then it could be making more money. So where is it that I stop doing anything out there?
Anytime you want to,
Huh?
anytime you want to.
Okay,
I mean, nobody's forcing you to do anything. You had the lease through the 30th. At that point, I mean, there's nothing that we have that, as far as I know, that anybody else is gonna lease it or sell it or anything. I don't know. Your choice. Or the board, golf course board's choice. I mean, I don't know. I can't answer that question. And whoever you talk to wouldn't have the authority to tell you it was gonna be sold to you, because the city can't do that.
there was nobody interested. I'm just saying,
Still doesn't matter, the city has to do things legally. Anybody
so
correct me if I'm wrong?
if I go in and start taking my stuff out, then am I going to get called in? Or do I need to have the cops out there with me while I take all of my stuff out?
Do you have a list of what's yours and what
She's the
belongs?
mayor that gave us time, and I've got receipts.
I saw that list. Yeah, I saw that list.
Yeah.
Are you taking the flooring out of the building too?
No, I would not do that. I also did not bill you for the employees at the golf course getting rid of the trees that needed to be removed, that have not been removed, and now are. And I brought my chainsaw over so that they had something to cut the trees down and into small enough pieces that were carryable.
Were the trees damaged because of storm damage? Because that's the only part in the lease that says that city, labor at the time allows should be expended out there on trees. Otherwise, it is the golf course's responsibility to maintain the tree, like to handle tree removal and trimming under maintenance of the golf course.
All trees is how we discussed it. I haven't drug it out again, but the trees and the irrigation and the outside of the buildings were your responsibility. But
I'm just saying that's not what's in writing. It says storm damage trees.
you guys are, well,
It's just complicated because she's board president, but she's also working there, like working for the golf course.
I understand.
So, like the golf course.
It's just like the issue with the cooler. It was brought up that that was city responsibility to read the lease and know it was not. They need to read the lease and know who's responsible for what before they bring it up and point fingers at people. Instead of, you know.
I was gonna say, everyone signed it, so.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Read the lease that they signed and follow it the way it's written.
I was gonna say,
I don't know everything that's on that lease, I'm glad you do and brought it up.
I only know because I received an email that the public works department didn't respond to trees at the golf course, and I was like, well, are we supposed to respond to trees at the golf course? And it says, as manpower allows for storm damage trees. So, I don't want to take anyone off, it's just what it says.
Yeah. The lease is what the lease says, and it goes through June 30th. After that point, as far as I know, unless I haven't been made aware of something, at that point, doesn't the golf course close?
I think we've tried to have a discussion to see if there was some resolution, because there are a lot of bookings out there.
Right, but again,
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah, yes.
June 3rd, July 1st, the golf course is closed.
Oh, there's no lease unless you sign a new lease.
Right. At this point, the golf course closes July 1st.
June 30th.
Unless the city employs people, unless the city
Right.
decides to
And
employ. like they
again,
did
right today, everything in place today, the golf course is closed July 1st.
The lease is, that lease is terminated, yes.
Yes, so the golf course closes. At this point, there's nothing else in place.
Right.
Okay,
So if she wants all of her stuff, she should have it out by June 30th, because the doors close July 1st, correct?
correct. So she's asking when do I quit doing stuff? Well, June 30th, unless if something changes that is not in place as of this moment, you take your stuff out June 30th. Answers the question.
And
Not to be an ass or anything else, but legally, that's the answer to the question.
And I don't know how it works, because obviously Angie has invested her own money into it, but so has the golf course board.
Right. I'm not disputing that.
So I don't know how that part works in terms of.
At the moment, you know, we got less than 2 months to figure out what we're doing. Otherwise, July 1st, we got a really pissed off town because they want the golf course. And at this point, we aren't gonna have one. There's nobody maintaining it or having the clubhouse open or anything else.
And I know there's a lot of bookings for the fall.
Right, so I think we need to quit dragging. The whole situation needs to have, quit dragging our feet and figure out what direction we're going with stuff. It's gonna take 6 of those 8 weeks to get an appraisal. That's something we should have been doing a little more on prior to now.
When the city makes the final payment in July, we will have well over $250,000 invested in golf.
Is it worth that much? Exactly.
We'll know in 6 weeks.
We'll know in 6 weeks, and 2 weeks after that, it closes at this point. So I think we need to really figure out what we're doing. Do we do something temporary? Because even if we sell it, it makes no sense to sell it mid-season. If we sell it, it needs to be as of January 1. So we need to figure out something for the last 6 months of the year, long before June 30th. Otherwise, we're just pissing everybody off. And I'm not a golfer. I really don't care if we have a golf course just because for the community, I do. For me personally, I don't play golf. But the community really wants it and should have it. We need to figure out something for the last half of the year, and we need to do it soon. That's all I gotta say.
How many things are scheduled? 20-some, was it?
I am not on the board.
Okay.
I am just for friends, and I just know that it's almost every weekend.
Yeah, it seemed like they're between 20 and 30 or whatever.
Yeah, now, and she asked me last week, and somebody contacted her and wants her to hold and plan wedding, but their wedding there. I'm like, plan it? I'm like, that old way. Like, and like, you got to draw a line somewhere. But all that aside, I think it's almost every weekend. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And I think what Angie was getting, and I keep telling her to make up her mind too, what she wants to do. I get it's frustrating on both sides, and I don't think you're being a jerk, Jeff, at all. I understand 100% where you're coming from on absolutely everything. It's 100% business, that's what it boils down to on both ends. But what she's saying is if she decides she's gonna pull out, like, it is personal for her. She's put a lot of time and effort into this, her own time and effort. And she did it of her own free will donation, because yes, one, she was told by people that she should buy it, and she was, doesn't matter. You're just right, it doesn't matter, like, until that's, if they told that, well, they were done, sorry. Like, you shouldn't have been told that. But regardless, she did it because she thought she was going to get something back at the end of it, one, and she was willing to do it. But she doesn't have a lot out there, guys, so if she's gonna start pulling her stuff out, she wants to know, like, do you guys trust her? So she doesn't want the police called on her again. That was embarrassing. One, I think it was embarrassing for the city, and it was embarrassing for her.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys want the protocol to be there?
At this point, she does nothing. She's obligated to run it through June 30th. And like I said.
Well, she's in an at-will position. She can quit being president if she wants.
Or she can quit cooking out there.
Yeah.
To do whatever, but there's no reason to pull it out. Like I said, we need to figure out as a full group, the board, us, and.
So like, you just want her to contact Elizabeth if she decides she's going to leave, and then Elizabeth will reach out to you guys about how you want the protocol to be.
I think we would probably all like her to stay through the season, if that can be worked out.
I mean, me too. I think the whole town does, because she does amazing out there for all of us.
She does.
I was gonna say, it was fun seeing the Kentucky Derby.
Wasn't it though? I had the time of my life.
So
Like,
like,
almost like I was there again.
so like, the city exploring options for the appraisal and stuff doesn't just like, it shouldn't discredit all the work she's put into it. It's just we're trying to
I know.
figure out what
Emotions get higher.
the right answer is, and we have this written document that protects the city and is supposed to lay out guidelines for the operator of the golf course, which is the golf course board. And I know as the board president, and she's also works a lot out at the golf course, she's personally invested beyond being just on the board. She's not just a talking head. So I know that there are some frustrations there as well, because it's been a long couple of years.
You know, wheels move slow, And, if we're realistic, and I think we ought to talk about this while we're here tonight. And the chances of getting it sold in the next month and a half are very slim, right? So I think it's very important that we really should concentrate our efforts on reworking some kind of a lease to keep it rolling. We were told that the current lease was voted down, but I haven't seen a substitute or any other proposal. But I want to see the golf course going all year. Chances of it getting sold in 67 weeks are pretty slim.
Everything I can say to you right now is, I don't know if I'm using the right word, so please don't write this down, kids, okay? Because it could be the wrong word. We'll take it back to the teach. Conjuncture, like it's just, I don't believe any of the current board members want to continue. So if we're gonna sign a new lease and continue with a board-driven thing, and I have no idea, like it would need to be an entirely new board, is what I'm understanding.
Minus the 2 city reps.
Yeah.
What?
I said minus the 2 city reps.
Okay, yep, yeah, but yeah, the complete volunteer, you guys have to be there because the city tells you you have to. That being said, the rest of them are all volunteer and like they don't, whatever. Would it be a possibility for the city to potentially, because Angie has invested a lot of time and to maybe make it what's profitable, like make it a profitable thing for her for maybe 6 months while you explore the option. Like maybe let her know that we don't want you to leave. Get us through the season and this is what we'll pay you while we figure this out.
So the board would be in charge of, right?
After the lease is terminated. I have no idea.
Like, the city can't pay her, but the board,
It would, so if the lease with the current structure were to expire on June 30th, the city could potentially explore leasing it to an individual.
That's what I'm saying.
It would just have different terms than the one that's currently written.
That's what I'm saying.
The current lease is not acceptable by the golf course board now, but we haven't gotten any proposal for changes, have we?
No. And I know Elizabeth has tried reaching out, and the golf course board hasn't had a meeting since March. I think it was March was our last meeting. We're supposed to have a meeting later this month. I think on like the third week of May. But I don't know if it's pertaining to that or if it's pertaining to something else.
I think it probably needs to pertain to
Angie
this.
does as they're needed.
Should that be a regular meeting?
It was for a time, and then in October.
Yeah, the last meeting was March 14th. That was our last one.
Whereas like when Keith was president, he'd call the meetings randomly as things needed to be approved. And so, whereas then when Angie became president, then we set it for every third Monday. But then we didn't meet from October through, then March we met. And then that's when the golf course board decided that it didn't want to continue with the lease as written. It's my understanding that we would explore like how it needed to be different in order to be workable.
Well, we really need to.
Now it's May and they made
Yeah,
that
we need to
decision
get
in March and now it's May, so nobody's done anything.
Yes, correct.
Again, someone needs to, the two groups, well, we have two people on their board and there's a meeting. Maybe they need to have a meeting a little bit sooner and figure out what they really would want and see if we're, willing to do that then.
And I know Matt, who's not on the board, said that no one would be interested in working with the city as the lease is currently written. So, but never elaborated on it at our golf course meeting,
Well,
so.
they obviously were willing to do that previously, so.
And, yeah, I was gonna say, it's,
I mean, that was before, you know, three of us that are sitting here were part of anything, but they signed it before. If whatever didn't work, they obviously aren't willing to say what didn't work in that lease, so we gotta wait for them to make proposals and let us know that what isn't working on that. But the rate we do things is gonna be past June 30th.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it rolling. I will give it Angie a call, see what kind of, you know, what we can work out. Whether, you know, whether an individual lease or a different board or whatever we can do. But, yeah, you know, she's done a tremendous job out there. Everybody in town will agree with that pretty much. That knows anything about it. And, we want to keep going. So we certainly, yeah, and the city's invested a lot of money in it. We,
If you guys could just sit down and listen to her about what her plans are for
Yeah.
this. Like if she were, what that would also bring to the town of Britt. Like where she wants to take it and what she wants to do with the property and.
Yeah, I know we asked her for like a 5-year and a 10-year plan.
I think it was 3 months.
Oh,
Three.
really? Okay.
One is to save the tree.
I'm one that has an event scheduled after July 1st. And I'm getting phone calls saying, are you sure that that's gonna happen at the golf course? And now you got me kind of worried. I know, we have,
There should be.
We hope it can be.
what's that? What do you say?
Oh, I
Difference
said,
in
we
your
hope
hands.
it can be. We hope it can be.
Oh,
Still
definitely,
out there.
definitely.
It's a great space.
I certainly, yes, you know, the alumni banquet has moved out there. We had it reserved for a long time, and I think the land on it. So I certainly hope something could be worked out. And I like to say, I have gotten some calls from, people who are organizing class reunions before they send out their letters. I want to make sure that there hasn't been any changes. Sure. Well, let's move on.
I think like we keep waiting for these next meetings, things have to progress faster than once a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, okay, well, do this and then we'll talk about it at the next meeting. Like,
Yeah, but one thing you're saying, you know, we meet once a month. The golf course board hasn't met for 2 months.
that, it's because, I mean, other than the 2 city council members, like that are on the board, like the rest of them are just, they're over it, if that makes sense. I know it's hard, I get it, I know. It just. Which that also makes it hard for Angie, that, you know, she's gotta get this board approval and she's gotta get them, you know. When she holds, like, I mean, the city, the 2, I mean, has there been board meetings where, hardly any of the board has shown up?
I was gonna say, one time it was just Angie and I.
Exactly.
Well, Jim, get us all pulled together.
Well,
I think Jim just needs
we
to have a
meet
conversation.
quite often, more than once a month, so it's not like we're gonna wait another month.
And I think what she's getting at is, you know, they came to us how many months ago? And we're just now finally talking about hiring an appraisal. I think that's what she's getting at. And I 100% agree with her. We should have acted on this a long time ago. We shouldn't have been taking this long.
This is new to everybody, so I don't begrudge anybody for making mistakes and handling it off. That's not our bag, never will be our bag, and it shouldn't be our bag. But we have it, we want to keep it, so we're stuck with it. So we've got to make the decisions that we can, but, you know, we've definitely made mistakes. And we want to keep going, and we want to keep it going. So yeah, we definitely got to keep moving on it. And we will.
So it's what it sounds like is you're gonna reach out to Angie.
Yeah.
And then if based on your conversation with her, you have to call PNET meeting or whatever, and then if there's any action that comes to the council, it would either be on the 21st or June
Right.
7th.
Yeah, hopefully the 21st.
Is there even a board?
If we wait till June 7th, we just will not out.
Besides,
We're not gonna get anything done quick enough.
and Angie.
Is there a board out there now?
Board. I mean,
I mean, there is a board, yeah, I mean,
It's Jamie,
on?
Jake,
Jamie, Sam,
Sam, and then the two less.
and I mean,
I was gonna say at the last meeting, it was Jamie,
and Jake.
Jake, Angie, Todd, and I. So,
Okay. Well, what amazes me is we were told how long ago that they didn't want to renew the lease and have not heard an offer. Right? That was what to do. So we're not the only ones, right?
Well, because I don't, like I said, I don't think the current board, aside from Angie, wants anything more to do, does that like, except for the city? And then Angie wants something to do with the golf course, but not in a board type of, you know what I, like, that wasn't the role that she thought she was going to continue.
Okay.
But maybe things, that's possibly why, is what I'm saying. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
John.
What it sounds like to me is because you can't sell it so fast as the law lets us. Why don't you come up with a long-term lease with, say, Angie, and I'm just using that as an example, and that's agreeable between the city council and her, not her and the board, but her. And then if there's a sale that could come up out of that down the road after there's time, then you know what your value is kind of starting here to what she's added. You've got to pay her the difference or subtract the difference to what you can sell it for.
Yeah, she's.
I really don't mean to be rude, but how long is this song take?
What's that?
I really don't mean to be rude, but how much longer is this song take?
Hopefully here in the next 20 minutes, we'll be done.
Vacated portion of property located at 7th Street Southeast.
You guys have the letter, requesting that. I know,
I never heard that there wasn't. We were gonna have them check that whether there was a road there or not. All of a sudden.
yeah, oh,
it is.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's no room there.
there's no road, but it is.
When did we find that out?
A while ago.
When did,
Not a while.
when did the city council find out?
You guys did not find out.
Exactly. Why not? Until we got this, all of a sudden,
Well,
well,
we
there
found out
isn't a
like
street there.
2 or 3
Someone wants to buy part of it. The city council should know before it even gets to this point, shouldn't we? Where's our communication?
Didn't we hire the person to survey it?
They did abstract. That's what we
Yeah,
hired.
we got that.
Yeah, we paid to have an
We hired
abstract.
to find out who owned that property.
Mhm.
And if there was any street or right of way there.
So you're saying you would like a separate email, letting you know?
Well, none of us knew that there wasn't a street there. The last meeting, we hired someone to let us know
Then you
whether
just found out, like,
a street there, then all of a sudden
When did you get the
we get a bid on selling
Like
part
2
of it.
weeks ago, maybe, no, not even 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, I can
I
definitely.
mean, the city council approved the money to find out whether there was a street there, but then we don't get informed whether there is or isn't until someone wants to buy part of it. We have no straight, thorough communication. Why not? That's my biggest problem with the city council while I ran. There's no communication on half this stuff. All of a sudden, we have someone wanting to buy part of it, and none of us five knew that I'm aware of that there was not a street there. Like everything else we're having an issue with tonight, there's no communication on half the stuff we need to know. How can we make informed decisions when we get half the information? I would like to know there wasn't a street there before I do anything on selling part of what I didn't know wasn't even there.
We're talking about, we're not saying we're gonna sell or anything like that.
Well,
right
no, but obviously they knew that there wasn't a street there. They want us to vacate some property, so how did they know?
Didn't they approach the city inquiring?
And they knew a long time ago, just that nobody knew whether it was a right of way, a street or not. They knew the city owned the property.
Right, but all of a sudden, when we go to figure out whether there's a street or not, then all of a sudden we get an offer on it?
They're the ones that asked us to do it.
What?
They're the ones that
Well,
asked
they're the
us
ones
to
that
do
did?
it. Paulson's did,
Okay.
They want to,
because they want to expand their business, but they needed to know how far they could go.
Yeah.
And we wanted to find out if we own that property, that, you know, that gravel road, by Mosher's, I don't know the street name, the
It
7th
was
Street.
that whole,
Yeah,
that whole street from.
yeah,
the one that they wanted us to pay.
yes. We wanted to know if we even own that.
And did it go all the way through past Paulson's? And we had to find out if there was a street there, and there isn't. It stops, according to this.
There's no date on this proposal. When was that submitted?
Like a week ago.
So again, my point, so they knew a week ago then that there wasn't a street there.
They
That
probably
it
talked
would
to
be,
the people doing the, I mean, they're right there by their building. They're probably out there talking to them.
should have been.
Well, there isn't a street there. So I see no problem in vacating the portion of the park. What's your thoughts?
So how much land does the city own in that area?
The whole, so 7th Street, so basically that little gravel road and Mosher's, that would be ours. And then, I mean, all the way down, we wouldn't vacate that little gravel road, but we could vacate that whole from the grass patch to where that road should be. It's not a road, but
Well, this is just a small section between Charleston's property and
yeah,
Cornfield.
they just want that portion.
I think they want to add on to the south side of their garage.
It's, yeah,
I have no problem with that.
yeah.
The communication where, to me, it was like, well, they know a whole lot more than we did and have a proposal to buy it. The city council didn't even know the answer to the question that we agreed to have found out at the prior meeting.
2 meetings ago? I don't know. Even
Yeah.
how many meetings.
I forget which one, but it just, part of the communication to me isn't there because you think we would have known prior prior to someone proposing that they want to buy part of it. Either way.
I will definitely update you guys a little bit more on email about that. Situations on this, I guess, whenever I get.
One thing that caused that problem was at one time, I don't know how many years ago, but at one time, there was a, what, P&N, what's the name of the?
P&F meeting.
P&F?
Yeah, personnel finance.
Finance Committee formed. Never was formed before. It was formed, so there was a smaller group that would meet and discuss things. That smaller group met with that homeowner and discussed that property. You know, prior to the time of that committee being formed, all those discussions were made with the entire council. So whether that forming that committee was a good thing or not, I'm not sure. But it does make it handy to be able to put just two people and the mayor together to talk to somebody. That's handy, I understand that. But that's why, you know, at one time, the council had made all those decisions. So we'll just have to continue to work on that, solve the problems that it causes. So what's your thoughts?
We're not taking action to vacate it, but if you guys are interested, we would.
Say, don't we have to follow certain, we have to follow certain procedures to
Yes.
sell anything
It's
else?
just if you guys want to go move forward in that process, so this isn't a true.
Absolutely. If we can expand the business in town, I'm 100% for it.
Agreed.
Okay.
So I guess I'll make the motion to move forward with the, whatever we need to do to be able to do this.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So then Earl will draft up whatever.
Yep, I'll get with Earl to start that process.
Anybody wishing to address the council?
What's gonna, I mean, my mom's not getting rid of her boat, are you guys gonna fine her $1,000 a day? I'm not making her get rid of my dad's boat. And it's not going to move.
Why not?
She doesn't want it to.
Oh.
This is my dad's
I
love
was
to
gonna
go
say, that
boating.
would solve the problem, just go out and move it every few months.
It doesn't-
Yeah.
Because I don't have the means, I don't need to, it's parked, Jeff, it's parked nice and neatly behind a garage, isn't it? It's out of the way.
It's licensed, isn't it?
It is, it's licensed.
I mean, to me.
Why is
I'm
it
sorry,
a
the
nuisance?
the city has more other areas in town we need to clean up than a licensed vehicle.
And I thought if the registration was current, then based on the ordinance, that if the registration was current, that it was.
It's fine.
That's fine. But I don't know.
And all Tyler said is that it hasn't, he hasn't seen it move in years and whatever. To be fair, and I told Tyler, like, it does not have the tags on it, we have the tags. Like,
Well, then that's why they're looking at it, because
and I showed him, he said, well, I haven't seen it moved in years, and the city said that they have to move. That like, it's a nuisance, the city, and I'm like,
put the
I don't know what's going
tags,
on.
put the tags on it.
Yeah, put the tags on it.
Well, okay, we do that, but Tyler's other half of it is it hasn't moved. And I'm like, it's not going to move, that's why we have it where it's at, tucked behind the garage. Behind the garage is a fence.
So you're trying to update the zoning code, so, I mean, that could be part of our.
It's not weeds, it's not overgrown, I can show you pictures, it's not overgrown, nothing.
I mean, the way the ordinance is now, it's a licensed vehicle, it's on your property,
Yeah, it can sit wherever.
you don't have to.
That's what I would have thought, but not according to.
I think part of it says something about moving, to my
in the code.
neighbors.
What is it, yeah, even if it's licensed, you have to move it? How often?
That's,
I know it's a lot of people park their motorhomes
that's
or
only in
boats
the street.
over the winter.
It's all in the code of ordinances.
Okay, but that's why I'm asking the question, I don't know all of
Most
it is,
people don't take time to learn the code of ordinance.
but how often do they need to move it?
I don't know how to.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. I didn't realize, I thought as long as it was licensed and was on your property, you were okay.
I think it's like.
But
if it hasn't
obviously I'm
moved
wrong,
in-
because I don't know them all either.
I don't know if it's 6 months or what it is, but it's something like that.
I don't remember again.
Put the license
I'll check
on it and
into
move
that.
it 5 feet forward. Sorry,
How much are you gonna charge me to do that, Jeff?
you put the license on it,
I'll
I'll
check
check it
into
for you.
I will say, when I get a call from, when we've done these in the past, if I get a call from somebody saying it's registered, it's licensed, we've told them you should be good to go then. If you've got the tag, if you would have called City Hall and said, hey, it's licensed, registered, whatever, my response, not talking with Tyler or anything, would have been, you should be good to go. So, I have to take those calls, and that's what we have told people when those nuisances have been sent out, and then we get the call. So,
Oh, I forgot, she did get a letter from the city, and then she got the certified letter from the police department, so like, it was like double whammy.
Yeah.
She got 2 letters.
it would have been, it was the same letter, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they send one regular mail, for those of you who may not know, they send one regular mail, one certified mail, and, they're the same, both come from, it would have been from the police department as well. Their envelopes are from the police department, so.
Well, my mom is Pat Nosey, and I'm Jolyn, and I have an office in town, and my phone number, I mean, it's just save the city some money. You don't need to spend $10 sending certified letters. I'll take care of it. Like, that was a ridiculous amount of money to send. Like,
Yeah,
come
it's
on.
their process, I don't know, I don't have
Legally,
anything to
that's
do with
what
it.
you have to do.
Yeah, we have no legal process.
You can just pick up on.
But that's not what the city has to do.
And also, it's not the city council's or the mayor's job to tell the police department what to do.
Well, he told me.
Now, I can
he
check
told me the
into
city
that.
told him.
But I'm certainly not going to even pretend that I can tell them what to do. They know the job, not me.
I don't know, Tyler said the city told him that he needed to start doing this.
Yeah.
Cause that boat's been right there, and I said, my boat's been right there for 8 years.
Yeah, well,
It's not overgrown, there's no weeds, it's not anything.
I'll definitely check into it. Yeah, that's all I can do.
Well, I do know that in my neighborhood, several vehicles that haven't moved, and I don't know if they're licensed, so it'd be nice if they weren't sitting in the driveways.
I believe there were some sent out in your neighborhood as well. But we did talk with Tyler in the office and let him know, we've had some calls and concerns, that not being one of them. But I think he kind of just did a general overview of things he saw, so.
He said he sent out like 16 letters.
It was not a bad conversation that I had.
As a council, can we see those?
I don't know, I have no clue.
I'd be curious where we're focusing
We're
our,
gonna ask Tyler for this.
I'd just be curious where we're focusing our,
I think he started with vehicles, he's gonna, like he's talked about today, he's gonna work on the lawns and buildings and other things too.
junkyards.
Yes, that one's been talked about.
Well, I think for sure it was the vehicles, because at our last council meeting, when we were reviewing those sections of the ordinance, that was like the one that was like specifically pulled out. And I think that's what brought it to the forefront.
Well, I specifically brought out the junkyards in town. So I want to make it, if we're focusing on something, those to me are more important than,
I do too.
I agree, if it's unlicensed vehicle and it's been sitting there and it hasn't
Wheels are
moved
falling off.
for years and stuff, but if it's a licensed vehicle, yeah, I mean, it's, it makes sense, if someone parks a motorhome for half the year, then they go south, for the winter or whatever, or a boat you're not using over the winter, but yeah, they should move or, do something with them in a certain amount of time anyway.
And one of the other concerns was the vehicle that was up on Jack's. So I think he was looking into that one and probably, said, I'm gonna start with vehicles, this is what I'm gonna do. He's getting his own process down, on how these should be done. I've talked with him a little bit on, who's responsible for what, and I've worked with him on addresses and everything, and just trying to make sure that moving forward, we're trying to take care of things that do definitely need to be taken care of. And so Yeah,
It's
I
a learning
not-
process.
It's a well-maintained, my mom's property is a well-maintained property, so. Now,
To answer your question somewhat, Jolene, it's a learning process on the police officers in town. It would have probably helped drastically if you had the updated license on it. You would have probably seen the updated license, well, proper licenses on there, we'll let this one go, but if he sees that it doesn't have the proper license, then he's doing what he should be doing.
Go ahead.
Anything else? Go ahead. Yeah.
I was wondering, since there's alleyways on South Main on both sides, if it would be possible for the garbage to be picked up in the alley, so we did not have to have South Main looking like trash, unintended, on Wednesday night all the way sometimes through the weekend before people will take their garbage cans back in.
I mean, I can definitely, yeah, we'd have to message, Absolute Waste Removal and see if they're able to do that. So I can definitely email them and see what options there are. And then obviously would have to be talking with the residents to see if that's something they'd even, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, the other residents and.
Yeah.
Most of them probably have the garbage cans in the back of the house anyway, like most people do. Less distance for them to move them too.
yeah. So I can definitely send an email out to see what they can do about that. And then I guess we'll see what that conversation
Well,
leads
there's
to.
some of them on the east side of Main Street. They're already picking most of those up in the alleyway. Cause I have some rental properties on that alleyway and they put them in the alleyway, so they're already doing it in some locations.
And everything has an alleyway except the Memorial Hall, which can put theirs on either side, but all the way down Main, South Main, there's alleyway.
I'll email them and see what they say, and then we'll continue that conversation.
Because I just think it looks terrible down South Main. Because some don't even pick theirs up. I mean, they'll sit out till the next week. And I just think there's no reason for us to have trash cans lining Main Street.
Well, or in the other street as far as I know.
Well,
And it's, Main Street's no different than the other street.
I think we would have to consider, the snow in the winter time and just double checking that the trucks will fit with what we move for snow too.
alleyways
But
are all,
I know that they
cleaned
do,
out.
yes, they do. So we just need to mention that to Absolute when we talk with them, and verifying that, that they wouldn't see any issues, because we don't want to change it just for the summer and change it back and change it,
well,
so.
no, but like I
You don't wanna
said,
get
they
chewed out.
plow those
Allows
alleyways.
getting chewed out, running over.
No. No.
Sticking out in the alley.
No.
You guys probably have barely enough room to go down there anyway.
Exactly. There's a lot of alleys that are way under width.
Yeah, but like I said, the first, couple blocks from Center Street, each way, they're already putting them in the alleys, aren't they?
Not that I know of. I have not talked with any individual residents, but
In back of the, I can't remember, 60, is it 62? First Avenue Southeast? Back, basically, right off of where Kelly Real Estate is, back there. Those are all in the alleyway.
That's in the business district.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can get, we plow there, they can get through there, why wouldn't they be able to go
They're
through all the
plowed
other
all the
alleyways?
way. I can drive all the way down the alleyway, all the way down, clean out town if I want to.
That's true too, but they aren't any wider than any other one, they're just nicer. Which I appreciated that, because I have my building on Main Street and rental properties that are affected by the paved one, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them and see.
Okay.
Yep, and then I'll have an update. Thank you. Yep.
Anything else?
Now that we're on ordinances, I had another call from Ken Fetters, again, asking about the semi ordinance on our streets.
On First Street, Second Street, First Street, northeast, Northwest.
So he's mainly talking about
It's an
the
avenue.
avenue.
Okay.
There's a truck that turns around on his avenue. They deliver, I don't know their exact route, but, they deliver to the Summit House and the hospital. And they also go to Britt Bar and Grill. At one point in time, they got in trouble with the police department for either a route they were taking or where they were parking. And so they started using that avenue to turn around.
But this one
I've
was not
talked-
just turned around, this was parked.
The officer did go down and that individual was in the emergency room at the hospital. So, that was why that truck was parked there. And the officer let me know, but yeah, so, and I actually drove back past and unless they parked on the hospital road or, the other road.
Second Street's part of the truck route.
Right, but they would have had to park on there to go to the emergency room.
I know there's been.
So-
cars parked in front of the clinic on-
Yeah, and I don't know why he parked that far down. I have no clue. I just know that the officer on duty went down and talked to him and he was in the emergency room and so they said, whatever. But, so he does his route and for some reason turns around. Yes,
They go to Summit House. they go around the
Coca-Cola.
hospital, they go to the Britt Bar and Grill,
Yeah.
delivering food products.
For some reason, they're turning around on his road, whether it's during busy time at the school, they don't want to go down tonight. I don't know. But they're turning around there and he has complained multiple times. I did look at the ordinance, the truck route applies to trucks over, what did I tell you?
I think you said 5,000 for that truck.
10,000, so it would be 2 tons.
It would affect him.
Okay.
Effective.
So I've talked to them, I've asked them to take a different route. They were gonna talk to the driver. That was last fall when I talked to them.
And we need to write tickets.
So if somebody wants to let Tyler know that, then, yeah, I've tried. And that's his main concern. I know that he's very concerned about that, so.
Well, he's saying there's an ordinance.
There is.
And again, we were talking about ordinances and carrying out these things. Well, if we're gonna do that, we need to be fair to everybody. We can't just pick and choose who we're fair to.
I think part of their thing was, how do we know what a truck weighs? That's, one of the officer's concerns was, what does a truck weigh?
Semi, it should be on the truck route.
Yeah, that was just when we looked deeper into that ordinance, so.
And the weight, is that posted on the truck or is it coded?
It should be in the truck
Is
somewhere.
it a semi?
Yeah.
Well,
It's a
then,
semi.
well, it's over the weight, no matter what it is, but most semis have the gross vehicle weight on the side, don't they?
It's on mine.
I don't know.
They should. They're supposed to.
So that would be, yeah, a police conversation.
Yeah. We'll have to look
There we
through
go.
the truck.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else? The motion adjourned?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Absolutely.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Please.
What about that guy?
Yeah.
You guys got it.
Time.
Oh, we don't care about it.
You guys signed up for the wrong meeting.
We're just ready to be.